welcome back to Mekankie, my channel about Tantra, the Kundalini energy and breathing. Today we're gonna work a revolutionary topic. That's how humans can change compulsions, vices, ways of being, all the patterns of being that we are and limit us somehow, that we are unable to change and to escape from that. How a human can really change this. First of all, what Tantra works is the freedom of the being, of how any human being can be free. And what is really being free is being able to become anything, to not stay hooked to some specific thing that is limiting, but to become anything possible. All the things that a human can become, it's the freedom itself of being a human. When you stop and become something and you just stagnate there, and your form becomes rigid in that way of being, in that way of thinking, in that way of doing things, well, that's not freedom and that's not power, because the power of the human being is being able to be anything. And to really conquer that freedom and anchor it in ourselves, we have to relate to our ephemeral dimension, to the change of reality itself, because everything is ephemeral and we are also ephemeral. But we are so hooked on some ideas, on some way of thinking, on the form of what we are in our consciousness, that being free and ephemeral and being able to change without resistance is just impossible. We are just so hooked. Even if some of them are more compulsive than others, we are hooked in a way of being, in a form that's not allowing us to feel the freedom of the ephemeral. And that's what Tantra works. Working our body, working our emotions, our mind, our spirit. It's a very complex thing that we do from several parts, and the ultimate goal is to reach that freedom, to become anything possible, to enhance that human potential. But when we are trapped in a way of being, or when we have a vice or a compulsion that is expressing, what is happening there is that we are escaping from our present moment, from whatever we need to change and heal, because there's something that we need to face and we need to heal, we need to understand, but we are not doing that. So we rather escape from ourselves and do whatever it is, a vice, a compulsion, a way of being, everything that we can do compulsively and escape from ourselves. And we do it again and again and again in an automatic way, and we are not thinking the core root of it. We are always escaping and we are indulging while we escape, and we never resolve this, and we are trapped in that. So how we get out of there? The most important thing is to bring consciousness and attention to whatever we are doing, even though if it's bad or not. Whatever we're doing, we bring consciousness to it. If it's a vice, if it's a compulsion, if it's a way of being that is limiting us, that makes us feel afraid, for example, or we suffer because we feel afraid and we cannot change, and become something different, but we know we need to do that, but we still are trapped in these patterns of thoughts and behaviors. We all do all this as a scapegoat, and we do all that in automation. So when we bring consciousness to them, we begin to really do them from our conscious mind. And through time, when you observe something that's not doing good to you, there's a moment where you really want to change, because you need to develop this acceptance within you for you to really transmute yourself. You need to be willing from the core of yourself to really change yourself and be something different. If you just castrate these dimensions, because this is what humans taught us, that you need to castrate what doesn't do good to you or is not good for the environment or for other people, or you're harmful, whatever. You need to castrate that and do something else. Well, this is a problem, because eventually the pattern is going to rise again because you haven't healed yet. And for healing, you need to integrate your shadow. You really need to face it. So the process of observing everything that is compulsive or a vice, or everything that we need to change, it's like going to hell to face our shadow, but in total consciousness, in total love and compassion and forgiveness. Because out of hating ourselves, things won't heal. We will just hate and replicate more of the same, and the patterns will arise, maybe not now, but eventually they will rise. And the thing here is to really heal whatever we need to heal, to transmute those patterns and become something different, anchor a new version that is free from that pattern, from all those patterns. So the integration of our shadow something difficult, it takes time. It doesn't happen one day to another, but it's a must. And for this, one should do things repeatedly until you're just tired of it. You have to repeat it and repeat it all over again with your full consciousness and attention, observing yourself to understand if it comes from your childhood or traumatic experience you had, to understand the roots of it, from where it comes from. And for that, you need to bring your attention, your consciousness. And when you do that, you're no longer escaping from yourself to do that repeatedly and incessantly until death, but you are repeating that in consciousness. And when you grow consciousness upon something, it just grows and grows and grows. You cannot go back when you grow consciousness. And that's the deal. You have to do it consciously. And eventually, through growing this consciousness, after doing it so much through time, whatever it is that harms you, that you will really want to change, that you have the thirst, the hunger to really alchemize your being to become something different. So when you're there and you have this acceptance, finally, you gain this acceptance of, willingly wanting to change and be something different. Not because someone tells you so, but because you really want to change. We are so hooked as humans to the dimensions of ourselves that changing is difficult at the beginning. But we are beings of change. We are ephemeral. So it is also something so natural in ourselves that the only thing that we need to do is to let it be, to not resist in any way, because we have these two dimensions, the one that allows change effortlessly and the other dimension that is always hooked to things. And it also has to do with our survival mechanisms, because our survival mechanisms allow us to be hooked to the present moment no matter what. We're gonna fight for it. And it happens naturally without thinking about it. And after that, there's other dimensions related to that involves having a form, a way of being, having a concept of what we are. And all this is like a body. It might be a mental body, but it's a body. And going through that, it's difficult. It is what is difficult. So to anchor new things and embrace change, one of the most important things a human can do is not to do big changes. It's just to embrace the little changes. It's to do things differently each day of your life. If you're going to work and you take a certain route each day and you take every time the same route, nothing is going to change. But if you play a bit and you change your route, try something new, take another route. Or whatever you do in your daily basis, play, try something different. All these little changes will grow as a spiral, and eventually you will be able to embrace bigger changes in yourself and have thirst for them and not be afraid or feel pain or suffer because change. Instead, embracing it in a way that it nurtures us. And actually, it is so natural in us that you can feel rejoice when you allow yourself to become something different each time. And that's the idea, being able to become something different. And that's your power. That's the power of the human being, of becoming. So when you're there, pure potential to become anything you want, to be whatever you want to be, and always allowing yourself to change, well, that is real freedom. That's the freedom of the being. That's the freedom of the human being. That's not being trapped in a way of thinking, in limiting thoughts, that are always so heavy. You feel light, you feel able to change yourself no matter what. And if you do it once, you can do it again and again and again and again. And you start growing that. That's an energy that grows within you. And it's natural. You are ephemeral. We humans are ephemeral. The only thing we need to do is allowing ourselves to that change, to allow that ephemeral dimensions to be in ourselves naturally, not resist, because it's there. So the first thing one should do to change all its vices and compulsions and limited behaviors is to observe, is to bring consciousness and do it one and again and again and again, and not castrating it. Castrating it won't help. You need to really heal from the core of whatever it is that you need to transmute. And after that, you grow acceptance. And when you have that acceptance, you can really start changing things in your life and anchoring new versions of yourself. You need to express all this energy. If you had compulsions or vices, you need to express that energy. So the thing is that you can construct a new version of you that expresses this energy in a healthy way. Tantra is an incredible way to do this, because what Tantra is doing is working with your vital energy. So whatever you do, if it vitalizes you, it's something very important for you. It is good for you. And you can indulge in whatever vitalizes you. But if you're doing things in your life that takes out your energy and just discharges you, well, those are the things that you should not indulge in. You can do them, but you should indulge in whatever vitalizes you and whatever brings you vital energy, and the relationships that enhance this vitality in you, that gives you love instead of the toxic ones, or eating healthy food, or doing things of your life that really empowers you in so many levels, that allows you to transmute yourself by learning, by constructing, by co-creating with life and with other people. You know, several things in life that can actually give us energy, good energy, and not just takes out the energy. For example, sitting down and watching TV the whole day. That's something not good. Or eating junk food, or being hooked to toxic relationships. No, the idea is for us to be able to understand and transmute ourselves to anchor new versions that energizes us, that grows our vital energy, our well-being in any way possible. So that's the idea for us to learn to change. And changing is something so natural, so beautiful, that if you might feel afraid or you might have doubts at the beginning, I tell you, you will rejoice immensely by doing so. Just allow yourself to embrace change little by little. Try to practice doing and not doing, trying to find always new route to things. Because if you do the same thing all over again, taking the same route, nothing will change. What is happening here in this reality is that we are feeding this reality with actions. Emotions, our consciousness and our thoughts are also part of this. It's part of this creation. But real change comes from actions. That's the language of this reality. Your thoughts, your emotions, the things that are in you are yours. But when you relate to the exterior world, to the reality that we live in, you relate through actions. So you need to embrace your actions in a new way for you to really anchor new versions of you. It's not just a state of being, it's how you act with it. It's how you feed reality with it. And you feed reality with your actions. So you can find people that say a lot of things, but they don't do things. They don't do what they say. You measure life by actions. And if someone is not acting accordingly to what it's thinking, there's the answer. This world works with actions. So act differently each time, even if it's a little bit different. It doesn't have to do with the big change. Bigger change, it's something awesome, it's cool. And also it can be intense. But the most important thing here is to embrace change little by little and learning to love it, learning to indulge in it, learning to understand how it is so natural and so important. And it allows us that state of ourselves that is our real freedom, the freedom of our being. Because remember, the real potential of the human being is being able to become anything. And when you are there, you've done it. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Share this video to someone that might need this information. Practice it yourself. This is very important. We all have dimensions that need to change. Every one of us. So this is the theory. Now it's time for you and for me to keep practicing this and to act. Thank you for being here. Om Namah Shivaya.